Hi, friends. Pastor Dan here. I want to introduce you to Joan Karen, who is my guest. I wanted to take just a few minutes in this different way of communicating with you through a YouTube video to let you know that we have another Alpha course that's coming up here in a few days. And I want to invite you to be praying for our course and even perhaps being involved by inviting guests and friends who God has placed in your life. Let me give you a little word of context. The Lord has placed Lakeland in this community, among other things, to reach many, many people with the gospel. Wouldn't it be a marvelous thing if one day, not long from now, everyone who's a part of our church today could point to someone else who has become a part of Christ and of His church, that they were used by God to be a part of reaching? Would you not rejoice if many people God's placed in your life would come to know the Lord and would become a part of our fellowship? Well, Alpha is one of the ways that we hope to help you to share the gospel with those that God has placed in your life. If you don't know, the Alpha course is a 10-week evangelistic Bible study that has a few unique features to it that are, we think, tremendously helpful for our guests. For one thing, over the course of 10 weeks, people are presented with the gospel week after week after week, so they have the opportunity to think and reflect and literally to process what it is that they hear. Every time the group gathers, we have a meal and share in a meal together. And the team labors not only to pray for our guests, but to love them and to provide an environment that's very safe for folks, for guests to raise questions that have been on their mind for a long, long time. I'm grateful, Joan, for your willingness to just come on my YouTube video for a moment. Joan finished the course that finished not long ago. And could I just ask, Joan, and we've had this conversation before, but would you be willing just to speak for a minute about how the course was meaningful or helpful to you?
First of all, I highly recommend it. I've recommended it to all my friends. And for me, it was life-changing. I had never opened a Bible in my life. And I had 12 years of Catholic education. And it turned my head around. Also, you are with people that have moral values similar to your own, people here from the church, and we have a grand time together.
Yes, yes.
And we've learned a lot. That's the one thing I can say is I have learned a lot about what God expects of me. Jesus was always up here in my head. Now He's in my heart. And I also learned that I have lived my life my way, and I thought I had a pretty good handle on it until I read the Bible.
Yes.
And then I decided I'm going to do it His way, because the road is long,
yes,
but the gate is narrow.
Yes.
And the road is wide, I should say, and the gate is narrow, and I want to get through it.
Yeah, and He loves you, Joan, as He loves all of us and is leading us.
It was hard for me to learn that.
Yeah.
It really was, yes.
Well, get in line. You're not the first one. Well, just glad for you to hear, and there's so much more even to Joan's story and to others who've been a part of the Alpha course. But in my heart, I loved the notion that perhaps one day a friend that God has placed in your life could share a similar story about how God has opened their hearts to love Christ through the Scriptures. And maybe Alpha's a part of how that could happen. Your request of them to come, the ask goes something like this. Our church has this kind of neat course in which you can at least understand the claims of Christianity. Would you be willing to just come to the introductory dinner where you can hear about that course? And the details for that are on the website and are in the bulletin, so please be watching for that. But be praying with us for the course that's coming up. And I guess I would ask this. Would you be willing to pray if God would want you to be inviting someone to this course that's coming now? All right? Thanks, friends. Joan, thanks very much for sharing. And may the Lord be honored.